guys, welcome to this week's edition of the Coffee and Heroes Show, coming to you from a Thursday. The joys of this wonderful country meant that we were closed on the 12th and the 13th. Back open today, Thursday the 14th. By the time you see this, of course, we'll already had Thursday the 14th. But it's sort of a delayed New Comic Book Day, delayed releases. It's a bit of a mess this week, to be honest. I'll obviously get on to my pull list and what's new in this week, but just a heads up, there were no Marvel titles sent to us this week and no IDW titles. Apparently it was to do with problems in the States over the 4th of July weekend, delays in printing, delays in delivery to Diamond US, which then of course has the knock-on effect to Diamond UK. So it's a little bit frustrating, simply because there were a couple of massive releases this week for Marvel. Daredevil #1 was due this week, Mandalorian #1 was due this week, Marvel vs. Fortnite #2 was due this week, but these should all be safely coming next week, fingers crossed. So next week I'm sure will be a much longer show as I go over about two weeks worth of releases instead of just one, but we still received a delivery. We still got our DC titles, Image titles, a few others. Of course, all pull lists are done, ready for collection, and ready to go. So, but I'll take you through everything this week anyway of interest, everything to do with the store, everything new in this week, a couple of previews, picks, a very small amount of variants that came in, and also one or two little special promotions as well, a little bit of news on that. So I may as well start there with that. I mean, the first thing is we were one of the lucky stores to receive the Ashcan for an upcoming series called Old Dog. So Old Dog is a brainchild of Declan Shalvey. He is writing it, he's drawing it, he's inking it. He's doing pretty much everything for the title itself, completely creator owned, and it's due out towards the end of August. Now, with this one, he did a limited run of 125 of these, what are called Ashcans. Ashcans are almost like previews for books that are coming out soon. And they're all individually numbered, so this is number 118 of 125. So this is essentially his process edition. It shows the black and white artwork, it shows thumbnail sketches, it shows character designs, a little bit of script work, a little bit of commentary. It's the kind of thing that I would love to keep myself, but I think the idea behind this is obviously, Dec's been good enough to send this to us. We had rather this went on to a customer who pre-ordered the book and showed their support that way. So with this, all you have to do is pre-order #1 with us. You don't have to commit to the series. The book itself, I'm sure, will do that with its #1. But as long as you pre-order the #1 with us, then during release week, we will do a draw for it. Now, it has to be a pre-order, simply in terms of giving us an idea of how many to order. If you pick the book up a couple of days after the release date, it doesn't really count because we want to do it on release day for those guys who did the pre-order system. So, as I say, it comes this lovely letter at Coffee and Heroes, which we'll throw in with it as well. It breaks down what the book's about and so forth. So pre-orders are pretty strong on it so far, but I would imagine, the odds of it. I mean, when it comes to indie books, our most popular indie books would maybe have about 20, 25 people on them. Things like Walking Dead, things like Crossover, things like Berserker. But in that case, so think of it that way, if it's similar pre-order numbers, you have a 1 in 25 shot of getting that. That becomes a movie, and you have something that's limited to 125 worldwide. That'd become quite the desirable item. So, as I say, get your pre-orders in, and you'll be entered into a draw automatically for that. Also, in terms of the store over the next couple of weeks, there's going to be some promotions running through the store. I'm hitting a point where I'm going to be just very, very happy at welcoming a new family member to the world. I just want to do a little something in store. So, Omnibus section, for example, I'm going to be doing a massive rate of reductions. Now, it's going to be for 1 week only. It's going to be the last week of July, and there will be discounts all across the board in the Omnibus section. So, for example, if an Omnibus's RRP is $125, that's £110 is the RRP for us, but we usually do it a bit cheaper than that anyway, but I'll be reducing that down to, say, £75, £80, thereabouts. They are going to be pretty big discounts. A lot of the omnibuses are, we have 1 in store, maybe 2 in some cases. So it'll be very much a first come, first served in terms of the omnibuses. We'll certainly, drop it over social media, let you guys know when we'll be running that properly. But that's just one example. There's some other promotions I'm going to do across the store as well. So keep an eye out for those. So that's upcoming as well. And yeah, but otherwise, the store, I've continued working through the DC section for the back issues. There's now a whole rake of Nightwing out there. There's a whole rake of, we just received in a full run of the Batman New 52 run by Scott Snyder, Greg Capullo. There's new Rebirth stuff out there, and I've got as far as H now in the back catalogue as well. So I'll continue with that throughout this throughout the rest of this week. We have some CGC submissions coming back as well, hopefully in the next 2 weeks. So if you have sent off stuff with us, they'll be on their way back. With the CGCs, we'll always get in touch and let you know when they come back, but we would appreciate it if people pick them up relatively quickly. We obviously pay for everything up front. I've had a couple in there that have been there for a few months. I've reached out to people. Again, these are their books. You think they would be back quickly for them, but just if you're sending stuff off with us, just please do keep in mind when they come back if you can pick them up quickly. That would be much appreciated. We'll be sending off again, I would say middle of August maybe. I just sent a lot off there again, so I don't like to have too many away at any one point. Is what I'm getting at. But if you have anything in mind, drop it into us. We'll keep it securely upstairs. I have a locked sealed box I have for the issues so that no damage can come to them. There's no light on them, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to drop anything in and then not have to worry about it, we'll keep that upstairs, as I say. So that's everything pretty much store-wise. So let's get to this week. And as I say, my pull list, what's new in this week, some variants, well, there's not a lot, and a couple of previews picks as well. So I'll kick things off just with the previews picks, just simply because this is a section I like doing, because again, the comics world is so relentless. It can be so hard to actually keep up with everything that's coming out. So what I wanted to point out this week from the DC and the Marvel books were a couple of facsimiles. Now, facsimiles are essentially 100% perfect reprints of classic issues. This is not just a case of, a reprint and all modern adverts and all stuff like that. With a facsimile, what it essentially is that they will reprint all the original adverts. It'll be the same sort of size in terms of paper stock, stuff like that. So it's a cool way of getting iconic issues within the industry. So first of all, with DC, I'm going to point out is the Action Comics #1 facsimile. So you could argue the comic that started it all, the first appearance of Superman, ushers in the era of the superhero. Again, these facsimiles, they do pretty low print runs for them. They only really do what is pre-ordered. So there's never normally loads of them around. So, and as I say, it's a good way of getting these classic issues. I'll do a similar thing with with Marvel, just to keep it nicely in check. And with it, of course, if I can find it, which is always the fun part. Trust me, it's worth waiting for though. Here we go. So what I've got for it, I suppose I could throw out 2 facsimiles just because they're similarly thin, breaking my own rules here. But there's some Amazing Spider-Man facsimiles due for release in September. You've got the Amazing Spider-Man #1, which of course is his first ever book, first appearance in Amazing Fantasy 15, but first solo series. This was one where he meets the Fantastic Four. And then there's also the Amazing Spider-Man Annual #1 facsimile edition. This is the first appearance of the Sinister Six. So again, just a cool wee thing to get and a cool wee thing to have. With regards to the indie book, I'm going to indulge in my love of wrestling again. But it's a one-shot coming from Aftershock Comics. Not only is it wrestling themed, but it's by one of the co-creators of That Texas Blood, one of my absolute favorite series in comics at the moment. So that co-creator is Chris Condon, who's the writer, and then the artist on this is Francesco Biagiani. You've got Jacob Phillips doing a cover. You've also, of course, his other Texas Blood alumni. There's also Francesco Francavilla variant cover. This is called Hell is a Squared Circle. So again, it's going to be a one-shot from Aftershock Comics. It's not a, commit to 6 issues, get the full story kind of thing. Due out on September 21st, and it's called Wrestling Noir. What a great theme. So Ted the Irish Mushka Walsh is a third-tier wrestling heel with a problem himself. He's behind on rent, child support and his career, but he thinks he can change things. As he attempts to take control of his life, his actions leave him with blood on his hands. Ted finds himself on the run from the authorities and the darkness of his past. As Ted tries to escape his former self and build a new, better future, his mistakes come back to haunt him in the ring and out. Pre-orders for that are already strong. I just can't wait for that. It's going to be a great title. Again, Wrestling Noir. Just sounds like it was released for me. But yeah, let's say pre-orders are strong, so get your pre-orders in on that. Next up, we'll go variants. Again, there's not an awful lot this week. Just a few, and 2 of them are actually for a title that came out last week, but we managed to get a couple of extras for. So the first one is the Jock 1/50 variant cover for Batman. I collect these myself, but our orders were such this month, basically with it being Batman 125, it being the start of Chip Zdarsky's new run, a jumping on point for people. We upped our orders and qualified for a couple, so it will be obviously going out at a higher price, being a 1/50 incentive, but that's going to be available from this week. This one I'll take out of the bag just to show you. This is another Batman 125, but with this one, this is a cover by Simon DeMeo. The reason I'm taking it out of the bag is this is an acetate cover. So what you'll see here is that there's this beautiful Batman image all encompassed in bats. Then you have the background there, and then of course the 2 come together to form a full image. So as I say, that's what's called an acetate cover, and we were told that that one was going to come a week later, just due to production issues with that. We've got a couple of issues of Superman Son of Kal-El 13. Of course, this is going to be the first appearance of Dreamer. So first of all, we've got the standard variant cover by A.L. Kaplan, but we've also got the 1/25 variant cover in as well by Clayton Henry. Again, obviously depicting Dreamer, Superman, the family unit, and also Lex Luthor and so forth as well. So that's the 1/25. So again, that will come in a little bit more expensive. And then the last one again was actually a release of last week, but just took them to this week to send us the variants. This is by Marcus To, and this is the variant cover for the last issue of Monkey Prince, so Monkey Prince number 6. So as I say, a smaller selection, but we do still have some of the variants from last week. We ordered relatively big on those, so there's still some really cool ones out there, some Predator themed ones, for example, through the Marvel catalog. But yeah, plenty from last week as well, so you can keep an eye out for that. Next up, we have my pull list, and this is one of the smallest pull lists in the history of this store for me. Disgraceful. But yeah, I think I had quite a Marvel heavy one this week, but I'll just take you through what I have anyway. So first of all, this one is Vampyverse Presents the Vamp. Now this, I'm not usually a Vampirella type guy. I do collect the Shannon Meyer covers when he does those. But this one just looks interesting because it almost looks like a steampunk reinvention of the character. It's called The Vamp. I believe it's set in the 1930s. So you've sort of got a steampunky war type vibe going on here. I believe they're going to be one-shots each time as well. So I'll give it a go and go from there. Maybe I'm just starved for content this week, so needed more. Next up, we have Superman Son of Kal-El. So again, as I say, issue 13. The dynamic debut of Dreamer as well. Great series in general. You know, Tom Taylor on this, so you just can't go wrong. On the back, we have A Town Called Terror, number 4. So this is Steve Niles, Simon Kudransky. Last night, Keith and I recorded a new reviews podcast. That'll be going live tonight as well. Issue 2 of that was my pick of the week. I think that is such a great title. Next up, we have Wonder Woman 789. Again, I always collect the variant covers for this. And this is Paul Pope on that one. Of course, I need an acetate cover for myself because I think I collected every 125 cover I could find. Next up, we have Above Snakes. So this is a brand new number 1 from Sean Lewis and Hayden Sherman. Heard some really, really good stuff about this. So that's brand new from Image Comics this week. I also have Dark Beach from Behemoth Comics. This is number 3. This has been a cool little small press series that I've really, really enjoyed about a world in which natural light doesn't exist anymore, so they just have artificial light powering the world. Dogs of London. This is issue 3 of Peter Milligan's sort of mob set East End London series, but with a little bit of a supernatural tinge to it as well. That's from Aftershock Comics. And then I have 8 Billion Genies, number 3. Brilliant title. Charles Soule, Ram Brown on this, all about if everyone in the universe got one wish to themselves. Also have New Masters. I think this is coming to an end. Again, an Image Comics series. Cool series. I seem to be the only one reading this. When this hits trade, highly, highly recommend. And the same with New Think. This is the latest AWA title. And this is issue 2 of that from Greg Hurwitz. I have a slightly larger one, which is the Premium Plus format size for Rogues. We're up to book 3 of that. Joshua Williamson, Leo Max, the absolutely brilliant adult-oriented series following the Rogues in later life. And then I got myself a little omnibus this week as well, which is the Jessica Jones Alias Omnibus. So this is the brand Michael Bendis, Michael Gaydos combination, and it contains Alias 1 to 28 and also What If Jessica Jones Had Joined the Avengers as well. So I just can't resist the wee omnibus, clearly. So again, a good selection of graphic novels in this week. Again, very little Marvel shipped unless it was older stuff that we ordered in, but just to take you through it anyway. So first of all, we've got this glorious set of 3 from Ablaze Comics. These are hardcovers, and these are the Sumerian volumes. So this is Robert E. Howard's Conan, essentially, completely uncensored. The Conan run through Marvel has been brilliant. This goes a step further. It's much more gritty, it's much more violent and pulpy and bloody. So if you want sort of a unrestrained, violent and sexual version, this is it as they intended. So first volume contains Queen of the Black Coast and Red Nails. The second one is Black Circle, Frost Giant's Daughter. And then we've got volume 3, which is Iron Shadows in the Moon and the Man-Eaters of Zambula. So again, if you want your proper old school over-the-top violent Conan, that's the series to go for. They'll always be limited print runs as well. Just Ablaze Comics is not the biggest comic label, but they are glorious editions they put together. Next up, we have Teen Titans Academy, X Marks the Spot. So this was one of the best titles that came out of Infinite Frontier, I thought. So what you've got here is Teen Titans Academy 1-5. You've also got Suicide Squad 3. That was a crossover issue. Some printed material from Infinite Frontier 0, and also the Teen Titans Academy 2021 yearbook. Essentially, it's annual as well. Little epic collection in this week, which is Tales of the Jedi for the Star Wars Legends line. This is volume 2. These stories take place 4 to 5 millennia before episode 1, so we're going old school with this. So you've got Star Wars Tales of the Jedi, the Golden Age of the Sith 0 to 5, the Fall of the Sith Empire 1 to 5, Tales of the Jedi 1 to 5, and Tales of the Jedi, the Freedom Nad Uprising 1 and 2 as well. So some old school Star Wars there. A favourite title of my own, this is back in stock just simply because there's a sequel coming up. And this is awesome. Shirtless Bear Fighter. Every bit as silly and over the top and fun as the title promises. Great title. This was Jody Lehoop and Sebastian Gurner on art. And yeah, I mean, you've got people in the back talking, Scotty Young, you've got Jerry Dugan. Yeah, you don't want to miss this. So that's the complete volume 1. Latest Reign of X now in stock. You know, we always keep a full stock of Dawn of X and Reign of X. So if you want to get into X-Men, this is the way to go. You know, for example, for this Reign of X volume, which is number 12, you've got issues of Marauders, X-Force, Hellions, Excalibur, X-Men. These are great because they essentially print everything in reading order. Power Rangers Unlimited, Edge of Darkness for another one here. So this collects 2 oversized one-shots. You've got Power Rangers Unlimited Heir to Darkness number 1, and then you've got Power Rangers Unlimited Edge of Darkness number 1 as well. We have the final volume of Oblivion Song in, so the Robert Kirkman Lorenzo de Felici series. This finishes it off, collects volume 6 collects issues 31 to 36. So this is the very end. Again, we try to keep that all in stock at any one time. If you fancy getting into Invincible from the start, and why wouldn't you? Because it's awesome. This is, of course, Robert Kirkman, Corey Walker kicking things off, and I'm sure you probably know it through the rather great adaptation on Amazon Prime. We have Primos up next. This was a 4-issue mini-series published through AWA, so again, it has that $10 price point. I read this about 2 weeks ago. I stored all 4 issues. Absolutely brilliant. Great superhero storytelling, great family storytelling, and just a few wrestling references in there as well. Next up, we have the next in the graphic novels for young adults volumes, Teen Titans. This is Beast Boy Loves Raven. So again, these are always self-contained graphic novels. They're original graphic novels. They don't come out in the single issue format. So again, for young adults, so 12, 13 and up, perfect to jump into. Back in stock are all 4 volumes of Something Is Killing the Children. I feel like I do this about every 3 or 4 weeks, but trying to keep this series in stock is impossible. But we have volumes, I should say, 1 to 4, everything released so far. Going back on the shelves, we have the best run of Nightwing in a long time. Back in stock as well, lovely hardcover, Tom Taylor, Bruno Redondo. This is Nightwing Leaping into the Light, which can collect, I believe it was 75 to about 81, 82. But, so good. It's so good to have Nightwing back in that capacity. Or was it 78 he took over? I think it was 78 actually, beg your pardon. And then finally we have back in stock as well the hardcover for Deceased Dead Planet. So again, Tom Taylor again, getting ready for the return of Deceased with Deceased 3 War of the Undead Gods. Still time to get your pre-orders in on that. but this was Deceased Dead Planet 1 to 7. So we now have all of Deceased back in stock. So you've got the main title, first volume, you've got Deceased Unkillables, Deceased Hope of World's End, and Deceased Dead Planet as well. So yeah, so that's going to do it for this week. A slightly shorter show, I'm sure, due to the smaller amount of stock. As I say, just to repeat, no Marvel titles in this week. So if I hand you your pull list and you say, where is this, there's a reason for that. There's no Marvel titles this week. So, but all the DC titles, as I say, Image, Boom, everything else arrived in. So pull lists are done and good to go. So as ever, I hope this proved informative for you. I hope you guys are keeping well out there. And I'll look forward to seeing you back in store this week. So take it easy.